travelers from around the world, my name is Luis and I'll be accompanying you in the next videos on Backpackers Vlog. This time, we've prepared an exciting itinerary for you. The entire Florida peninsula awaits us, including of course, the city of Miami. We also see 4 national parks, one of which is among the most popular in the United States and lies slightly north of this state. I assure you, this video is worth watching. So let's hit the road! The first stop on our route is the city of Miami, also known as the Magic City. Its expressiveness and dynamism instantly make you understand why it's so appealing to travelers. Miami is a majestic glass bastion that has wrested a precious piece of land from its natural surroundings. Nestled between the Everglades and the Atlantic, the city is blessed with the Gulf Stream and Florida's privileged position facing the Caribbean, Central America, and the classic trade routes of the southern United States. Today, Miami is one of the wealthiest cities in the United States. The city itself, in reality, is not as big as one might think. It is home to only about 420,000 people, but its neighborhoods that stretch along the Atlantic coast are home to more than 6 million. Miami is also one of the most popular tourist destinations in the world. Its affluence, subtropical climate, and the nature of South Florida attract about 25 million tourists every year. The city also has the largest cruise port in the world. However, that is not all that makes Miami remarkable. It is also home to one of the largest Hispanic communities in the United States. They make up almost 70% of its residents. For this reason, and also because of its economic ties with its southern neighbors, Miami is also known as the gateway to Latin America. All this luxury, the sounds and the colors cannot be experienced in one day or even in 1 month. When you're here, a question that often arises is, which parts of the city can you see in a single visit? In today's video, we'll show you the most interesting and unique neighborhoods and places that Miami has to offer. We begin our walk in one of Miami's most famous neighborhoods, Little Havana. All of Miami has a Cuban influence, but here, in an area where the first immigrants from Cuba began arriving in 1959, it is especially noticeable. Restaurants, salsa, rumba, Cuban authenticity is everywhere. It's a wonderful place to visit. We were told that the most interesting part in the area is 8th Street, or rather, it's stretched between 10th and 16th Streets, so we headed there. Here, you almost feel like you are in Cuba. It smells of coffee, rum, coriander, and cinnamon. And the joy of many generations of immigrants who have realized their dreams and made this city their home is clearly palpable in their energy. Various waves of immigration, mostly from Central America, have played a significant role in shaping Little Havana, which today is 98% Spanish-speaking. Its fascinating cultural amalgamation led to the neighborhood being declared a national treasure in 2017. Did you know that 8th Street is also home to the Latin and Spanish Star Walk of Fame? We can see many famous names here, but I didn't expect to see this one here. One of the most recognizable symbols of this neighborhood are these roosters. They are represented here in different colors, in traditional Mexican shirts and without them, as well as representing different professions. These roosters were kind of a response of the local artists to the typical American statues of flamingos, which were popular some time ago in Coral Gables. We will see many more of these roosters during our walk. What What is Little Havana to you? It's like Little Cuba. I love it as we have a really good time here. It's a very lively and fun street. And we have everything here that reminds us of our homeland. For example, all the souvenirs you see here were brought back from Cuba. We also have roosters everywhere here, symbolizing union, family, money, cockfights, and of course, good traditional Cuban coffee.
My boys are like, Ralphie, you want some Cuban coffee? Hell yeah. I like Cubans and I like coffee. I'll take me some Cuban coffee. I didn't know how strong it was. I drank that cup of coffee, it took me like 30 minutes. It was the most amazing cup of coffee I've ever had in my life. For that 30 minutes, I could see into the future.
No, not that one. It's American. You can find real Cuban coffee here at La Colada. Well, there's also Cuban music, dominoes in the local park. A lot of old people who immigrated here years ago gather there. Tourists that visit our neighborhood always leave satisfied because we Cubans are very good-natured. There's a very good vibe here and we provide good service. For example, I like to dance and sing in the store, and because of that, I am often photographed by tourists and they leave very happy. So I advise everyone to visit our street. Everyone needs a little piece of Cuba in their lives.
And it's true that you'll find the best coffee in Miami and Little Havana, at least from our perspective and that of our friend. You'll also find delicious Cuban and Caribbean food here.
Welcome to the Pub Restaurant, where typical Cuban dishes are served. Here we can offer you, for example, ropa vieja, a dish of white rice, minced beef, and ripe bananas. And what is frita cubana? It's a cutlet made of ground beef and chorizo cooked on the grill. I really suggest you try it in our restaurant. Well, that's what we'll do. Well, let's try this famous frita cubana, which is apparently the Cuban hamburger. It is said to have originated in El Vedado, and it was invented by a Galician. Here you can find this dish in all restaurants. Let's try it. It's delicious. We've come to one of the most authentic places in Little Havana, Domino Park. Even though many tourists now visit it, it is still very special. This small park has become a gathering place for many retired immigrants from Latin America who come here to play dominoes. This park is well known for having a number of rules that players must follow, such as no swearing, no drinking, no wearing short pants, and following a strict etiquette. Where are you from? I'm from Cuba. I'm from Puerto Rico. I'm from Puerto Rico too.
Every year, more than 3 million tourists visit this area. Many of them come here to enjoy the restaurants, bars, and informal street atmosphere. In Little Havana, there's a lot of entertainment. For example, music and art shows, which are held on the last Friday of every month. Also, in March, there is a massive local carnival called Calle Ocho, which attracts hundreds of thousands of spectators. If you ever find yourself in Miami, be sure to visit Little Havana, not only to look at the colorful storefronts, but also to enjoy the Cuban heritage of this unique place. If you head south from Little Havana, you'll be at the northern end of Biscayne Bay, bordering Key Biscayne and Virginia Key. This is an area of calm, shallow waters, perfect for kayaking or catamaraning. And if you continue your route along the Rickenbacker Causeway, we can encourage you to explore all of the Key Biscayne and its fantastic parks. Our goal that day was to freshen up a bit before continuing our walk around town, so we headed to a water sports school.
We are located on Virginia Key, the best place in Miami, as far as I know. It's perfect for people who want to go sailing or canoeing, People from all over the world come here, from the US itself, from Europe, China, Asia, India. It can get very crowded in summer. We're in a fairly enclosed cove, aren't we? Is the water calmer here? It is, and it's also a fairly shallow cove, so it's very convenient for teaching tourists because it's rather safe. Well, let's get down to business. Great! Sometimes the wind blows from the land or, for example, from the east. You have to change your strategy according to the wind direction. That's the beauty of sailing. If the wind is blowing in this direction, like it is now, the sail should not be too open. It should be more taut and tight. You have to open it wider when the wind is blowing from behind when you are sailing downwind. Now we are sailing against the wind, and the sail should be tighter and more collected. That's how sailing works.
It's a wonderful experience. Sure, the prices here can be pretty high, but what do you expect from Miami? Anyway, the guidance and care of the instructors here are top-notch, and even I, a person more attuned to land than water, finally began to understand how the wind works. At least, so I thought.
I don't get it. Where's the motor on this boat?
Being about 2 miles from the sailing school, we approached the shoreline of Coconut Grove. There, on the shore, is one of Miami's treasures, the Villa Vizcaya and its magnificent gardens. This mansion, just over 100 years old, is a neo-Renaissance residence built by the magnate James Deering in the final years of his life. Deering was a great philanthropist and traveler and filled his residence with luxurious furniture and works of art. Today, the Vizcaya Museum and Gardens is classified as a National Historic Landmark. The place has hosted many diplomatic meetings and has been depicted in movies more than once. Refreshed, we return to the mainland to visit Miami's financial district, or downtown, Florida's most important financial center.
This one is also one of the most famous neighborhoods which immediately come to mind when you think of Miami. Skyscrapers, financial institutions, banks.
This dizzying panorama of skyscrapers and bustling avenues, split down the middle by the Miami River, is also one of the city's oldest neighborhoods. Along with corporate and bank headquarters, downtown Miami is also home to historic buildings, cultural centers, and some of the city's most iconic landmarks. Miami's financial district is among the fastest growing residential areas in Florida. In addition to its 70,000 residents, some 250,000 people commute here daily. That's why traffic congestion is constant during the day here. Keep that in mind if you plan to visit the area by car, but we'll share another recommendation with you a little later.
Right now we are on Brick Hill Avenue, one of the city's main thoroughfares, and we are almost in the Brick Hill neighborhood itself, which is the financial heart of Miami, like New York's Wall Street. We have come a little south of downtown because I would like to take the Metro Mover, a very interesting form of public transport. Okay, let's go, and I'll show it to you. How often do you use the Metro Mover? Well, I use it for all my trips around the city because I don't have a car, and since it's free, I can get to my house without paying for the ride. It's hard to live in Miami without a car, isn't it? Yes, and Metro Mover really saves us. The Metro Mover is a small train that travels on rails over the road. Let's go for a ride.
The Miami Metro Mover was introduced in 1986, and since then, it's been the most convenient way to get around downtown.
These are very curious trains. There are about 20 stops, and most of them are located around downtown. There are also a couple of lines that run north and south of downtown. This mode of transportation is actually very much appreciated by locals, primarily because it's free, but also because it makes getting around the city a lot easier. Well, and the views from inside are beautiful too. By the way, this vehicle does not have a driver, so you see, we are basically in a box that is moving by itself. The Metromover is an indispensable means of transportation if you want to explore every corner of downtown. We advise you to be sure to visit Bayfront Park, a beautiful park by the sea with the best views of Biscayne Bay, the Port of Miami, and the Perez Art Museum, the most important one in the city. Even if you want to spend very little time in the center, the Metromover is definitely the best way to observe this huge hornet's nest from every possible angle. Our next stop is Wynwood, a very trendy neighborhood full of eateries, crowded bars, and art zones. There are more than 80 galleries where you can see the works of some of the city's most famous artists. It is basically an open-air gallery, and it's mind-blowing. Despite its hipster character, this neighborhood is expensive because it's very close to downtown and the prices are exorbitant here. This former industrial area has become one of the most colorful and popular neighborhoods in Miami in the last few decades. The first thing that immediately catches your eyes is the murals, the graffiti, and the large number of food courts and galleries. Thanks to investments, this area, which was left abandoned for several decades, has been given a new lease of life since the early 2000s, and many restaurants, art galleries, stores, and design studios have opened here. There are very few places around the world where so much street art is on display. I'm out here. Hi, how are you? Hey, what's up, Mario? Where's Luigi? I've lost him and I can't find him. The most famous place here is the Wynwood walls, which have 40 pieces of graffiti on them. Let's take a look. The creation of the Wynwood walls goes back to the name of Tony Goldman. In 2009, this famous real estate developer was looking for a way to transform the Wynwood warehouse district, and he had an idea. Wynwood's large stock of warehouse buildings, all with no windows, would be my giant canvases to bring them the greatest street art ever seen in one place. His idea came to fruition, and years later, hundreds of artists from all over the world have left their mark on the walls of Wynwood. The warehouse complex that Goldman bought has become a thriving art center with more than 400 retail and restaurant establishments around it. Art has also spread to the walls of the buildings surrounding the complex, and thus, street art has taken over literally the entire neighborhood. Look how beautiful it is. As far as I understand, all of this graffiti is updated every year. There are always 40 of them, but the artists and the paintings change. Let's pick out the coolest one. Look, it looks like it's painted, but it's actually been engraved. Among so many impressive works by American, Norwegian, Japanese, and Portuguese artists have made it a hard time picking our favorite. So we asked one prominent gallery owner for his opinion.
Hi, my name is Shuggy. My favorite mural is by Ernesto Maranje, a local artist in Miami. He paints a lot of animals and plants, and I love it. He started off with a base of oil paint and just kept adding details and details, and it was a magical process.
I have two favorites. This one, which is very much my type, and that one over there. On the northern border of Wynwood, you can find another neighborhood, also transformed in the 21st century after decades of abandonment.
In this case, one of the city's most glamorous places has been created there.
It's not really a neighborhood, but just a few blocks called the Design District, located next to Wynwood. Not long ago, this was an unremarkable neighborhood, but a few years ago, the biggest fashion designers and the leading brands started to move here. And nowadays, it is kind of Miami's Golden Mile, a place with the most expensive stores. If you want to come here, get ready to spend a lot of money. Of course, it's not the most compelling place in Miami, but it can be quite interesting to see the stores and get a feel for the atmosphere. Yes, the area is very expensive, and it may seem like it's not for everyone. However, this place is notable not only for its luxury stores, but also for its architecture, as all 4 blocks were built by top-notch designers and architects. This neighborhood is worth popping by if you are in Wynwood or downtown. Drive a little farther north and you can find unusual buildings like this fly's eye.
Dozens of design and architectural studios, art galleries, antique stores, and Michelin star restaurants can be found on its streets. It's in a typical neighborhood with just over 1,000 residents in a few blocks. I would say it's a mega project of design and luxury, and it does not leave anyone indifferent. Before heading north in search of more adventures, on our second day in Miami, we've decided to show you the beach. And here, frankly, lies the catch. Because Miami Beach is actually not even a district of the city of Miami, but rather an independent resort city located on a large island opposite its big brother. This place attracts millions of people with its white sand, warm water, and atmosphere of eternal summer. The most popular area, South Beach, is a concentration of the rich and famous, as well as all kinds of parties and restaurants. It's hard to believe that South Beach was one of the most crime-ridden areas of the city in the 70s and 80s, but if you watch Miami Vice, you know what I'm talking about. It's a jungle of cement and glass, which used to be a giant coconut plantation in the late 19th century. Over the next century, South Beach, like much of Miami, entered a new life cycle of hurricanes, abandonment, investment, and new development. If you want to see one of the best views of Miami Beach, we recommend a walk along South Point, a very beautiful park that is perfect for family outings, and at the very end of which you will find a very beautiful pier. From there, you can see Fisher Island to the south, South Point Beach, and all of Miami Beach.
Now we are in the place which I was really looking forward to seeing, the famous Ocean Drive, which is a legendary place not only in Miami, but in the entire American film industry. As you can see, there are some very curious buildings here. Ocean Drive is a street that runs parallel to the waterfront. It's the first street you come across here, and it goes many miles further than the city of South Beach itself. There are about 800 buildings in this style. It's a kind of late Art Deco, which was called Streamline Moderna and lasted in the United States until about the late 30s. This style is characterized by long lines, peculiar curves, and quite a lot of nautical motifs. It is one of the most common in Miami.
There are many legendary buildings here, such as the Sunray Apartments, the Colony Hotel, and the Casa Casuarina Villa, the last residence of Gianni Versace. Today, it's home to a luxury hotel and restaurant. As you can see, it's popular not only among foodies, but also tourists queuing to take pictures at the doors of the building.
South Beach leaves no one indifferent because it is a mixture of many different elements, and not just architectural ones. By the way, here you should be careful when choosing a hotel, because from the outside they all seem very beautiful, but inside they are not so great, even though they cost a lot of money just because they are opposite the South Beach.
There are parties everywhere, a lot of craziness, poor people, and rich people hanging out in same places. It's all really striking. This neighborhood is one of the most expensive and thriving beachfront neighborhoods in and around Miami. Life here resembles a constant festival, so it's very easy to lose your head here. However, there are still places around this area with high crime rates, so we advise you to be careful. As for us, for the time being, we're leaving Miami to prepare for new adventures. And soon, we will be heading north along the Florida peninsula. There, we will see incredible landscapes and one of the most beautiful and oldest city in the United States. We hope you will join us along the way. See you soon, world travelers!